Well, hello, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome back to Grizzly Bear Sims YouTube channel, and welcome back to Tazewell County. Good morning to you all. It is our second game day of our 9 game day season gameplay here, and I'm just over here checking the mail. And I just got to say, hats off to Flatlander84. Just so many really cool things that he has put into this map. Just take a look here. 2 mailboxes. You might be wondering, why 2 mailboxes? There's only one house over there. Well, basically, in a lot of the rural areas, your mailboxes are always on the same side of the street or the highway. That way, the rural letter carriers, which my grandfather used to be a rural letter carrier in the real world, that way they can just basically drive down the same side of the street and service mailboxes for both properties. So this is probably our mailbox here, and then this mailbox here goes with that house over there. But just a cool little thing. I mean, some people might just plop down a mailbox here on this side of the road here, thinking that it would service our house, which we live here, but that wouldn't be true to life, and we're standing in the middle of the road, so let's get out of the road here. All right, so this is game day number 2, and this is episode number 3, if I didn't say that already, of Tazewell Farm. So I'm going to show you, I've made a couple of improvements to the farm. We have ordered in some additional work, a couple of different laborers to come in and do some things for us. They are not quite yet done, but they are in the process of completion, and I will show you that. So let's just go over, and I think I talked about in the previous episode, I think I talked about the fact that would be probably having a sale of some equipment that essentially came with the map that we do not want, do not need, and do not really plan to use on this map, on this farm. And so we have basically lined stuff out here by the road. Lots of the local farmers that live in the surrounding counties and everything will pass by possibly. And plus we've put some information out at all of the various feed stores and supply mills and such as that. So they're all aware that we're running a pretty good sale on some of this equipment to get it out of here, because again, we don't need it. Now we're also still kind of using this field here as a staging area, so no, we're not planning on selling the case or the row crop seeder or our semi at this particular point in time. That just happens to be a bit of a staging area. Now, one thing that I've got to say, and this is not a criticism of the map author at all, because I certainly understand what he is going for. He is going for maximum realism as it pertains to his childhood memories and everything of growing up in this area. But essentially, we've just got one equipment storage barn here that comes with this map. And well, I was raised, both my father as well as, from what I understand, my grandfather on my father's side. Now, the grandfather that I mentioned just a few minutes ago, the rural letter carrier, the mailman, he was that was my mom's father. But my who I knew, I grew up knowing him. My grandfather on my dad's side, I never met. He passed away when I was less than a year old. But anyway, some of the values that he instilled into my father, which got passed down to me, was to basically always keep your equipment and everything undercover as best as possible. Maybe not so much trailers and things like that, but definitely your seeders and combines and things like that all need to live under shed. So if there's one small critique that I would make of this map for my style of gameplay, I don't have enough equipment storage, or if I tried to get everything in on that one pole barn over there, it would just be too cramped. So we are in the process here. Jack organized this and kind of got this started, had a crew come out and lay down some crushed rock, some crushed stone, and so to build us a pad back here where we have had one pole barn erected, and we are going to have a second one placed in here just to the side of this one here, over here on this other pad. And it will give us an opportunity to sort of better organize our equipment. And Billy Bob is out in field number 13, opening that field up, plowing that up. So that's him out there working. We are going to try to organize the sheds. This one right here right now just has our case combine in it and a cultivator because we aren't harvesting anything right now, so the combine can live over here for now. But possibly one of these sheds will be devoted to field work, so that's where our combine, it's where our cultivator, plow, things like that might live. And then we're probably going to have a second pole barn erected just to the side of this one, and that will be where we will organize our field equipment such as mowers and rakes and such as that. So just thought I would give you all an update. We've got our trailers pulled in over here. We've got one grain Wilson grain trailer for now. May need to look at possibly two. That just kind of depends on how heavy we get into harvesting, and we've got quite a bit of a haul from some of the fields to the sell points, and that's how we're going to basically be dealing with much of our grain, is pulling it right off the field and taking it to the buyer. We've got our semi livestock trailer there. Our cows are not here yet. We will go get them at a particular point in time, and we've just not really hit that point. Once the second pole barn has been erected, we will have the paving guys come out with their stone and basically build us a rock drive at least up to this point here, or maybe it'll just be dirt. I don't know. I haven't decided yet. But anyway, we'll tie that in quite nicely and make all that look nice and everything there. So yeah. So if you want some additional storage, if you play this map, then you'll need to either do something through Giants Editor or do it the way that I did, and I just installed the mod that allows you to basically change the textures. I am well aware that those barns will not have snow mask in them. At least I don't think that those are Giants buildings. I don't think that they have modified those to have automatic snow mask, but we're not going to be putting bells or anything into those locations anyway, so not to worry. All right, so today, as you can tell, let me switch this over to wheat there. As you can tell, we have a soil temperature of 43 degrees Fahrenheit. So if we switch over to our seasons calendar menu here, obviously we're not planting anything that isn't naturally grown here. So canola, barley is out, sunflowers, potatoes, sugar beet, these kind of things are out as well. We're not going to mess with them in this series. This is strictly going to be primarily corn, soybeans, and then obviously wheat. So 41 degrees is our minimum planting temperature for wheat, and we have 43 degrees, so we are going to go ahead and take our parking brake off and get started. Now, in episode number 1, I was basically, I believe one of the guys, Jack, was plowing, I think he was, and basically we were in the process of seeding this field here with grass. I was going to seed the entire thing, field number 17, all with grass, but opted to just basically do this one square portion here, and then so this field will be sort of a co-owned with grass, and then on this other side over here will be a portion of our wheat. And so that is what we're going to do. And so we're going to just we're just going to unfold this guy here, and we will just leave a bit of a row between the two, I think. Well, let me back up here, and we're gonna dial in our GPS just because, well, let's just make things a little easier for us, right? All right, and we are dialed in, and we are off there planting our wheat into field number 17. We'll probably have a second field of wheat as well, just primarily because we want the straw off of it, because we're going to run a fairly large number of cows and also pigs on this series as well. So we're going to need plenty of straw. So what we're going to basically do is just essentially plant this side here in wheat, and then basically this end right over there in wheat as well, and just make this sort of a shared wheat and grass field. Perhaps not the most ideal situation in the world, but there again, I don't think that we're going to need any more grass than that. Now, when I defined that grass field in episode number 1, I really had not seen yet the fairly large area that I've now confiscated as our vehicle storage lot there. I had not really noticed that. I thought that was all part of the cow pasture. The cow pasture basically takes up a portion of that. That's fenced in. The remainder of that portion is grass, and it's unfenced. So I was unaware that that was grass. I think that it's probably worked out for the best that I wasn't aware that that was grass, because simply put, I don't know that I would have made the decision to put in our equipment yard and everything there had I believed that that was grass. I would have probably went ahead and just used that as grass, and I think that that has worked out well for having that be an equipment yard. Otherwise, I could have taken in field number 1, I suppose, but you know, fields are valuable, and that's going to be a nice field. Actually, field number 1, it might be smart to put field number 1 as wheat as well, simply because that way we don't have quite as far to transport our bales and whatnot whenever it comes time to chop the wheat or cut the wheat. Harvest the wheat is the correct word I'm looking for, I believe. And so we'll see how that works out and see how all that goes. But I hope you guys are enjoying this series. I'm certainly enjoying bringing it to you. I enjoy this map immensely. I know I say that a lot about a lot of the maps that I play. And I will tell you that this map is, even though it's all flat land and everything, and so if, you know, maps like, for example, Midtown USA, other like Snetterton Farm, etc., that's kind of based on a mountain kind of terrain and everything, those are gorgeous maps, and I quite enjoy those. But I also like the aspects of the fact that this is basically true to life, real life farm, and I quite enjoy that. So this here is where Billy Bob lives. This is his house, and he's got a barn and has a shop out there, you know, because that's quite important. I think every man needs some space, whether it be space for maybe his tools or a wood shop or something like that. So he's moved into this space here and is quite enjoying it. And his wife and everything will be coming up here and joining him, along with my wife, who will be here momentarily as soon as I can figure out how to get the GPS dialed into this tractor, because I'm getting my buttons mixed up. But anyway, I am quite enjoying this series, and I think it's going to be quite interesting once we get the planting all done and basically get into harvesting. I think harvesting is going to be super cool here on this, especially doing it the way that we plan to do it, which is completely reverse of how I've done it before. I've always essentially harvested and brought that harvest to the main farm and then sort of worried about selling it down the road. But we're going to do things different with this. We're going to do things more or less kind of the way that they're done in the real world, which is basically take from the fields, harvest, load them into the Wilson grain dump tippers, and send them to sell directly from the field, from field to the seller, without bypassing anything else. Now, of course, we will be moving a portion of corn and soybean, obviously, to the main farm and storing that in our grain silos. I haven't determined how much we're going to do of that. So obviously the first portion of the harvest probably will come to the main farm, just so that we will have plenty of soybeans and corn and what have you for our own purposes, for our own animal purposes and everything, because clearly we are going to be generating some of our own pig food, and so that's going to be what we're going to need to do that with. And depending on how our grass fields and everything do, our grass field, I should say, just one singular field there, that big one right over there, depending on how much of a yield we get from that, obviously most likely that will initially become hay. So we always have the ability to chop our corn if we want to, or even chop our soybeans, or even chop our wheat if we want to for chaff. We can do that in the during the growth stages there. But most likely we would do corn chaff for silage, and so we also have the ability to do that. And most likely we would just hire a local firm to come in and do that for us, you know, very similar to how the grassmen are portrayed. If you watch those real life YouTube videos of the grassmen, they do a lot of chaff cutting, corn cutting and grass cutting and everything for chaff purposes, for silage. So we would just probably hire that in and have folks come in and do that for us, do a portion of a field, or, you know, maybe we'll just say, okay, well, field number 8 as an example, or field number 4, we'll just make that be our field that we're going to put corn in, and we'll plan to cut that early. I think we can cut that the last growth stage, and depending that you've got the equipment and everything, you can cut that and harvest that as chaff for silage. I like putting the first, you know, I like doing the first level of planting on new maps myself. Of course, the boys do a fine job, and of course, like I said, Billy Bob is down in field number 13 plowing that. We have outside of this field here, which is still fairly fresh soil, has just been plowed. We are coming in and also cultivating those fields, so everything else that we more or less do once we get into the start of planting our soybean and our corn, those will be done on freshly cultivated fields. I am curious if any of you guys and gals maybe attempted to play version 1 of this map and what you think the differences are. I will tell you that based on some feedback that I've received from episode number 1, and I will just say for the record, I did not play version 1. I've not really watched a whole lot of videos on version 1 either, but I do know that there must have been some folks someone posted about the fact that the reset point was quite a ways away from the main farm, and so I think his feedback was that it was a little difficult in essentially moving equipment and everything from the reset point to back to the main farm. Well, that has been corrected. The reset point is actually in the grass field back there by the pole barns in front of it. And I did have to be a bit careful when I laid all that out, that I made sure that I didn't set anything on the reset point. But it's back there in that area. And then of course, when you buy vehicles, or even if you buy seeds, if you buy straw bales, hay bales, silage bales, whatever, those are delivered to the main farm. And of course that is sort of geared to be more true to life, because the folks around here, when they order things up, the dealers, either the feed store, feed and fertilizer type store, will deliver those. And so we have been buying in a mixture of both bulk and also some big bag seeds and fertilizer as well. Mixture of both since we've been here, and getting a relationship and everything set the with the local suppliers and everything, because obviously they've been used to dealing with the folks that had this before. But as I said in episode number 1, they got a little bit behind on their taxes, and the feds came in and said, we want our money, we're going to take our money. And so they did that and put those folks out to pasture, if you will. And so we stepped in and bought this from a government auction process. And basically I bought it sight unseen almost. I saw some photos. I knew a little bit about the type of equipment and everything that would be available here on the farm, but in kind of looking at that and sort of knowing how we kind of like to farm and everything, I sort of realized that was going to be a little bit of a challenge, and so I knew that we would most likely need to swap some of that equipment out, and that's what we've been doing. We sent Jack out primarily to start getting things going, start doing some maintenance on some of the pieces of equipment that we felt that we would be keeping, and again, kind of going around and speaking with the various dealers, both equipment dealers as well as seeds, fertilizers, other kind of things, and of course starting to get a relationship with some of the auction houses and stuff as well. And so all that has been progressing quite nicely. And of course, since I've been in town, I've made the stops by all the folks, introducing myself and speaking on behalf of the investors and everything as well, and just kind of making sure that we've got everything, all the I's dotted and the T's crossed and everything, just to basically get ready for a busy planting season. And of course, stopping by and speaking with the owners of the various sell points who are buying the corn and soybeans and such, and again introducing myself, and also actually Jack and Billy Bob and I both made a point to kind of make the rounds just the other day and shake hands with everybody and meet everyone, and also, you know, put some feelers out, because most likely once we do get into the harvest season, we're going to need folks that, you know, have that can drive our semis and tippers, and maybe some extra carting hands and stuff like that. So it's kind of good to kind of know who some of the folks are and who's wanting some extra work and that sort of thing. And of course, a great place to always find that kind of information out is always at your local diner, because where folks kind of gather for food is a good place to gather for food and coffee and stuff like that. It's always a good place to begin making relationships, because I think that there's probably, at least here in this country, in the US, there's probably a lot of deals and everything that get made at the local cafe, local coffee shop, over a cup of coffee and perhaps a nice stack of pancakes. Pancakes. All right, well, folks, we are coming up on about 25 minutes here, and I'm just kind of going to continue to do what I'm doing, seeding the wheat in for both our wheat needs, as well as our straw, which is the primary reason why we're planting wheat. Really, truth be known, is for straw, but we are not going to pass up the opportunity to sell some of this as well. There are some locals in the area that want our wheat, and we're going to basically sell it to them. And of course, we're going to take the straw off the field once it is ready. So having our straw, our wheat field next to our grass field, you know, if we could kind of do those things together, cut grass and harvest wheat near the same time, that way we can just cart bells and everything back and forth. I think that'll work out quite nicely. And folks, if I know I repeat this often, if you see a mod that you are interested in, and of course I'm playing with a lot of default equipment here on this map, but I do have some mods, quite a few of the, like the animal stock trailer, that's a mod. Obviously the plow is a mod, etc. If you're interested in any of those things, just go to grizzlybearsims.com and you'll find a link to my mods and add-ons directory, and you can click that and you can see all the different DLC that I have, as well as all the mods and everything that I'm using. And we'll try to lift this up and just move over this trench here, and I'm going to come in and clean up all the edges there off camera. So anyway, folks, don't forget to check out 3 Dudes Gaming Network as well as PCSG. Big shout out to everyone who's basically come over and signed up for those websites based on information that you have heard me talk about here on the channel. Enjoy interacting with you over there on PCSG and 3 Dudes Gaming Network, and if there's questions and stuff that you have, those are both excellent resources to get those questions answered. And I dare say that if you have a question and we don't have an answer for you at either of those 2 resources, with the vast range of skill and everything that people have in these games, then I would say that most likely that question just does not, or the answer does not exist. I'm pretty confident in saying that is the way it is. If folks can't help you, whether it be a modding question about map creations or map editing, stuff like that, all the way to just how you play the game, etc. I'm sure that with the vast experience that we have going all the way back to like FS9, FS11, etc., then if folks don't know the answer, then it's not worth knowing. So again, without further ado, folks, I'm going to go ahead and wrap things up because I'm starting to feel myself ramble just a little bit, and for that I'm sorry. So thank you all again for watching the Grizzly Bear Sims YouTube channel. If you are new to my channel and you are not yet a subscriber, please click that subscribe button and then click that little bell. That way you'll be notified when I put new videos out. And then likewise, please also hit the like button. I appreciate that as well. Thanks again for watching from Tazewell County, Illinois. My name is Jerry Grizzly Bear Sims. Thanks for watching my videos. Please tune in again for another video on Midtown, USA, or Thornton Farm, or right here in Tazewell County. Take care of yourselves and each other. God bless you all. Bye-bye.